You're tuned in to 90.3 KEXP Seattle, and you are about to watch one of the craziest interviews I have had the privilege to do. My name's Nikhil Saifullah, and this is an in-depth look at the band KlosetSauce. So if the name doesn't kind of tell you anything, this band is, well, let's let the music speak for itself. We unfortunately didn't have a chance to interview Ahmed Rashad, who is the guitarist, so couldn't hear his voice. He was sick with a brain hemorrhage of some sort, I think, and he's in Harborview right now. But we did talk with the other three members of the band, and I can't wait to share their interviews with you. Stay tuned. So our first interview I did was with Shepherd, who is the front woman, and she had a lot to say. Hello, it's KEXP here with
Shepherd
from the band
KlosetSauce.
And we just saw them play at the Triple Door today, and we'll have that footage for you coming up real quick, but we just wanted to get to know our front woman just a little better here. Shepherd, we're here in your studio right now, and you have 3 computers up. Why is that?
I have Bing up. I have my images. They are always up for inspiration. They make me, just think of new songs and writing songs. And then I do a lot of research because I'm an academic. I just love learning. I'm kind of a nerd.
Right,
Shepherd.
I see. Do you kind of carry that nerd identity with you in your band? Do you think that influences you in any way?
I think with the whole hipster phase and like the big glasses and everyone pretending like they're nerds, I'm like a legit nerd. Like
Right.
I'm real, I'm not fake.
So as I continued talking with Shepherd, she revealed a lot more about her diet and her lifestyle choices these days, and took an unexpected turn, which from my point of view was excellent.
My trainer, Corey, he has only allowed me to eat almonds and only drink gin. And it has been life-changing. I feel like I'm constantly in this daze where I don't know what's going on, so I have no sense of any of the problems. So I'm fine. I just go about my day. I go on Google Images. I just get all my stuff done, I think.
So your sister was recently quoted in the Village Voice as saying that your last album was a little jaded and too intense for her taste. How does that make you feel?
She's a little too intense for my taste, okay? Cheryl and Josh, her stupid husband, I don't talk to them anymore, and their dumb kids I'm gonna have them stepped on by one of my cows.
Cows. Okay, so you mentioned cows. That is one thing I always wanted to ask you about. Your band performs in New York a lot, but you actually live in Albany, or just
I
outside
have
of
a
it.
massive dairy farm.
Yeah.
Massive. It is huge. Thousands of cows.
So then we moved on to Lemon, who is a Turkmenistani fellow who is the percussion instrument specialist for this band. And he lives in Queen Anne, and so not only did we get to see his studio, but he also took us up to see his living quarters in a very tiny studio apartment he has there. I don't usually get to go over to musicians' houses, and it was unusual to be invited over. Here we are with Lemon from the band KlosetSauce. How's it going?
I'm Lemon.
Oh, I'm sorry. Lemon. Where do you see yourself fitting into the band?
I kind of like to think of myself as the kind of ragtag part
Kind of
the
the
group.
wild card, you would say?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have some footage of you getting pretty
Yes.
funky with that rain
I
stick.
majored in rain stick at MIT. That was my main study.
Huh. I didn't know MIT had a rain stick major.
Of course they do. That's their best major.
And I understand that you emigrated here from Turkmenistan. Is that correct?
Yes.
I see. What did is how does that influence you? Is that apparent in your music?
The
Is that-
pain.
One thing I was struck with was he seemed really closed up, and you'll see that in the interview, but he let me into his house. Lemon?
Where did you come from?
Oh, I'm so sorry. We're with KEXP. We're here to do an interview about your band ClosetSauce.
I will now.
Okay, thank you so much. Could you tell us about the space that you're currently in?
Well, this is my study. I spend most of my time here. And this is where I sleep, in this very large area. I sleep on this paper bag, like this. And then sometimes my best friend Archibald Zirat comes and snuggles up here. It is very nice on the weekends. It's a very pleasant time. And then I write some of my most famed masterpieces on some very nice used underwear that I got from the janitor, Mark. And I write some of my most famed masterpieces. I will play some for you now.
Thank you so much. So you've enjoyed some very colorful characters, but bar none, no one really approached, and by no one I mean no one in the past year has approached the manager of ClosetSauce. So in this first part of the interview that we included, he rambles on about the classification of free jazz. It can kind of be a cop-out for musicians who don't really have a form. And he took a lot of offense to that when I brought it up. So ClosetSauce has been accused of, dare I say, being a free jazz group. Does that kind of clutch you? Because I know you guys have tried to define yourself as many other things.
Yeah. So, so the thing about ClosetSauce is they came to me with this unintelligible, breathtaking sound, you know? They have a sound that's unimaginable, you know? And if you think about free jazz, you've got the world stage, and when and then it's just these allegations. I'd say they're more electronica. I don't know.
So then, as we go on talking, he justifies his use of the electronica genre in a way that I'm still trying to parse out, and honestly still joke around with my friends about back at the station. And whenever he comes up, I have no words, and neither did he. So, as far as being an electronica band,
Right.
ClosetSauce plays analog instruments. So, is this kind of a post-production thing, or can you kind of speak on that?
So listen, the thing about it is, electronic was never really about electronic instruments. You know, you have to understand that. That's like just basic music history. So I just don't. You know, people keep criticizing. I'm just like. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Right. So this next part is one of the best soliloquies we have ever had in KEXP. It's not often that an artist will sort of go on and on and on about anything on these interviews. They're usually kind of bored and over it after touring, but just enjoy. So, could you speak on the jacket that you're wearing in bed?
No, I will not speak about that. I will not comment about that. That was one thing that was in the rider.
Tell them about my cows. They did something.
Oh,
It was so funny.
Thanks. Yeah, the cow incident was, yeah, that was a pretty big moment in my life. Yeah, so I was 3 years old. I didn't know Shepherd at the time, but I knew of her cows. They were world famous. And I just knew I had to see them. You know, when you're 3 years old, the world's just so big. And cows are just so big. And you gotta see them. So I took a cab. I took a cab that would take a 3-year-old. And I went to Albany. I was living in Massachusetts at the time, so it was a long cab ride, but I got there. So the thing about it, I was seeing this cow, for the first time in my life, just holding it, tasting the cow, and it was a spiritual experience, and I just felt, and long story short, I got trampled by a cow.
So for more in-depth personal interviews and potentially more crazy shit, tune into KEXP at kexp.org/interviews for the latest and greatest. I'm Nikhil Saifullah. Thank you so much for watching.